Hello, everybody. I'm DJ Chucky, and you are in the mix. I mean, we are in the mix right now, and I have somebody that you need to meet today. This is Dr. Reverend Wanda Lundy. She doesn't want me to call her Doctor or Reverend or Wanda, so I'm just gonna say Wanda. Dr. Reverend Wanda Lundy, how are you feeling today?
I am grateful for another day. Thank you.
Yes. I don't know how to call you because it's like, Dr. Reverend, but I just see a beautiful person here in front of me. I know titles, we're kind of like, titles, but it's just what people use to name us, to call us like that.
Yes.
They told me a lot of things about what you do, but I want you to tell the people that are watching a little bit about you and how you got into being a reverend and a doctor, like a little bit of your story, like how did it all start?
Thank you. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to be here.
Yes.
I grew up in Alabama, so I'm a Southerner.
Oh.
And many ministers in my family, I was taught basically to help people. So that's always been a desire that I help other people. I went to HBC, Alabama A&M University.
Yeah.
And then moved to Atlanta, Georgia, and went to the Interdenominational Theological Seminary because I believed that I had been called to ministry. Christian education, not necessarily to pastor a church,
Right.
but I knew that there was something that I was being called to do.
Yes.
I went to school, graduated from there, and decided that I was going to be to go to Africa to be a missionary. For quite a while as a child, I don't know where this came from, but I wanted to go home, and home being Africa. I gave up that dream to go to Africa because I had no idea how I was going to be there. I was in my apartment one day and I got a phone call from someone who said, "Hey, someone gave us your name to be a missionary and wanted to know if you would be willing to go." And I was like, "Who gave you my name?" And the location was to go to Irian Jaya, which is the other half of Papua New Guinea.
All right.
Now, I wanted to go to Africa. I knew nothing about Papua New Guinea, but this is the place that it seemed like I was being called for, and I said yes. So I started preparing to go. I started taking the language, moved to Washington, D.C., went back to school to get a second degree.
A whole process. That was
I had to just go through a whole process. And during that time, there were a lot of young black men who were being killed in the country. This was in 1987, 1986. And I remember saying to myself, how can I leave here, my home, to go help someone else? And my people need help here.
Yes.
And so I remember that it was very difficult because they had been preparing me to go to Irian Jaya, taking the language, sending me back to school.
Yeah, you were almost there.
Yes, and I remember I was in Washington, D.C. at the time, and I remember going to New York to tell them that I couldn't go. And when I told them that I couldn't go, they just said, okay. And I was like, my stomach was turning, I was so afraid. The other thing that happened was I didn't get cleared medically because I've been asthmatic all of my life. And they said, you can't go in the middle of the jungle somewhere and have an asthma attack. There's no emergency room for you to get to.
I was going to take you to the hospital.
I ended up at Rikers Island,
Ooh.
the largest jail in the world. That became my missionary place.
Wow.
I opened up the Rose M. Singer Center in 1988. It was a new facility. And it was the most amazing experience that one could ever have. I did not know anything about jail, but I talked to my sister and I said, I'm getting ready to finish school. I'm not going to be a missionary overseas. I'm looking for something. She said, oh, they're looking for a chaplain at Rikers Island.
Wow.
And I said, really? And when she said that, I just knew that was my job.
Right.
So I went to the interview and over 100 people interviewed for that job. I remember watching people come in and out, and I said to myself, well, they have to go through the process. And I got the job. And really, since that time, part of my work has been working with women who are incarcerated. I'm also teaching at Bedford Hills Correctional Facility, the maximum security facility in New York State.
Wow, and you were not afraid? Like, it's maximum security, everybody would be like, I'm not getting in there. Like there's like some serious people there. Like, how do you feel about that?
When I tell you that they are my sisters, that there by the grace of God go I, that I'm not there. When I go to teach, I leave filled because they nourish me. They are amazing, they're intelligent, they're loving, they're caring, they want to help. I think that is.
So
it's
that's a
great
misconception that it's a hostile environment that it's gonna, it's dangerous or something like that. It's not.
Well, all I can tell you is my experience. I'm with, this is our second year. New York Theological Seminary graduated a class last year, our first class. There were 10 women who graduated. This year we have 7. And I never feel my life is in danger or afraid. In fact, one of my experiences with them was I was with them a double class in the morning and the afternoon, and I forgot to take my lunch. I want you to know that they fed me.
Wow.
That was the best meal I think I've ever had in my life.
In jail.
Yeah, because they gave what they had.
Right. Like the Bible
to
says.
take care of me. Yeah.
True. How do you know when God is talking to you, when He's calling you to do something? Like I hear a lot of people saying a story and telling me, like I felt a calling to do this, and when I went and did it, it was what I had to do. How do you hear that voice? How does it happen for you? Or is it the same for everybody, or like, yeah?
No, I think that we are all created in the image of God. That we are all created in the image of God. We are unique. We are special. There is no other Chucky. There's no other Wanda. And with that comes the connection and the relationship we have with the Creator. I'll tell you a story. Growing up, we used to see in these Bible movies, and God is an old white man. And I went to school. I was at Howard School of Divinity, and one of my professors, Dr. Kelly Brown, had us read an assignment. And in that assignment, it had the last sentence from the play for colored girls who commit suicide when the rainbow is enough. And that last sentence reads, I found God in myself, and I loved her. I loved her fiercely. I tell you, Chucky, even now when I say that to myself, because there's not a lot in this country that tells us, a short, fat black girl from the country, that God looks like me and God is inside of me. Wow, that was the best Bible I have read for myself, because I said, if the God who put the sun in the sky and the moon and the stars in the sky is inside of me, looks like me, tell me what I can do. I have not looked back since then. So to answer your question, God speaks to each one of us differently. Sometimes God speaks to us through rap. You didn't think I was going to say that, did you?
No, ever. No.
Sometimes God speaks to us through the thunder. I mean, it is for us to have that connection and that relationship with the power and the energy that created us.
That's interesting to have that perspective, that even in things that we might not think that God is speaking to you, there's a message there for you.
Absolutely.
And if you can decipher it, then you can understand
Absolutely.
what's happening and move accordingly.
Absolutely.
That's so interesting and good to know. We're talking with Dr. Reverend Wanda Lundy. I want you to hear what she has to say, because I've already felt something. I learned something from what she's saying. And one of the things that I wanted to ask her, like, she's a reverend of a church or a place that is in a historical spot, like something historical happened there. But there's also another historical power that you're bringing into that place, which is God. So how does that come together? Like you being in the historical spot and also creating a new energy that is positive for what's happening in the area.
I love that question, because there's no separation. We as human beings chop up, separate, dice and slice who the Creator is. That's not who God is. So for me, there's no separation. In 2019, I heard about a place called Elizabeth, New Jersey. I did not know Elizabeth, New Jersey existed.
So the first time you hear about it.
In 2000, and how many times have I been to Newark Airport and did not know that I was actually in Elizabeth? I had been invited to come and preach, and I came to preach, and they made an announcement at the church. The name of the church is Siloam Hope First Presbyterian Church, which was a recent merger. And they said, we need volunteers because 4 Centuries in a Weekend is coming up and there's going to be people coming to learn about the history. So I said to myself, well, I'm new here. I don't know the history, but I can come and help, right?
Right.
So I show up. It's the third weekend in October every year. And to my amazement, I mean, they had reenactors from the Revolutionary period with their uniforms on. They had a woman in the vestry dressed up with doing a authentic tea party. They had musicians, the drummers, and the flute player. They had the tents up. It was amazing.
Like took the time machine and went back to
absolutely.
In time. Right.
It was amazing.
Right.
So I was like, wow, okay. They had been talking, I heard, that it was a historical place. There is also on the site, Snyder Academy. So, and it has a little small museum. So I go into the museum just learning because I don't know anything,
you're
right?
new here.
And I'm looking in at the artifacts that they have, and I look up and there's this picture there. It was a picture of revolutionary people dressed in revolutionary garb, and there was a little black boy there. Wow. And I said, wow, I finally see a black person.
In history, like in that.
I'd heard about others, and I don't know, I just was not expecting it. I was so happy. And the young lady who was there said to me, she said, oh yeah, there's 313 slaves in the cemetery. And I said, what did you say? She said, oh yeah. She said, you know where you park every Sunday? I was like, wait, don't say it.
Pause.
Wait a minute, okay. She said, yeah, where you park every Sunday, they're buried over there. And I knew that there was something, I knew that there was something very spiritual and very special but I did not. So when she said that, it took my breath away. So she said, oh yeah, she said, we have their names. I said, you have what?
Whoa.
So there had been people who had been working on this project. The reason why they had the names is because of the burial book. The church was established in 1664. It is literally where New Jersey began. There was nothing else in this area. There was no state of New Jersey.
Of New Jersey.
Is that location.
Whoa.
1664.
That's huge.
We have the oldest grave marker, 1687.
Wow.
So when she told me that there were free and enslaved African people buried in the cemetery, I just sort of began to believe that may have been the reason why I was called to Elizabeth. And I started asking people and telling the story. Do you know? Do you know? And almost everybody that I asked about it, they didn't know. They didn't know. So I went to the congregation and I said, okay, we're going to put a monument up, Let's do that. Other people have been talking about it, but we're going to do it. So I'm going to ask each member to give $313, $1 for each ancestor.
Wow.
Okay, this was in January. So I said in October, you have the whole year to pull your $313 together so we can put this money in. Chief Saka came on campus to meet me, the chief of police. And I told him this story. First of all, he didn't know that they were there either.
He didn't even know.
And he used to walk, he said, I used to walk through here on my beat. And I did not know that they were buried here.
Wow.
So he was introducing Director Graves, an African American. He was coming to show me, to tell me. And I said, well, did you know that there's 300? So I said to him, we're going to do a fundraiser. We're going to put a monument, and each member is going to give $313. And he started laughing at me. He said, you're going to have to get a whole lot of $313 in order to get enough money to put the monument up. Fast forward, the community came together. We raised the money to erect the monument. We unveiled it last year, Juneteenth. Nice. The artist was amazing artist who just sort of took the dreams and all of his work, Sterling Brown, and created this legacy monument where we found out that there's 381, not 313.
Wow.
So since we'd
yeah.
already come up with the name 313, we started calling it 313 Plus.
Okay.
Yeah, and on the monument, we have all of their names engraved. There are those who we don't know their first or their last name. So we put unknown in the year that they died.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a. And not only that, like, just that you walked by there and you felt that there was something, and then having that person tell you what that something was,
Yeah.
like, incredible.
Yeah.
And how come nobody knew about these things?
Well, there were people who did know about it. They started, the Snyder Foundation actually made a donation so that they could do some refurbishing of the building. They put a steeple on top of the church, which is why the building is now called Snyder Academy. They had started doing some work, but they did not complete the work with the Ancestors Project. And I truly believe that was because I was supposed to do that. So
Yeah, you
and
were the
not
part
only-
that was missing.
Yeah,
to
not
come.
only myself, but when I say the entire community came together, asking people, young, old, black, white, rich, poor, people who homeless, they have not, did not know that. I did not know that. Are you serious? Yes, these are our ancestors. And what they said to me as I began this project is, like, you know, all of these other people, we want our names called. We want our stories told. And that's what we've been working on.
Wow, it's incredible the way it happens. Like, I now see the connection with history, because in that same building where the school was, there was like many people that we all know today that went there. They did their studies there, and one of them. I mean, I want you to tell people like who they were. Like they might be known, you
Right.
know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So the property is very historic, as I said, 1664. Think
That's a long
about how
time.
long ago that was, and what was happening or not happening, because this was,
It was like the
just getting
beginning.
started.
Yeah.
This is where it began. It began here.
Right.
Alexander Hamilton, many know that name. If you have a $10 bill, look at the image on there.
It's Hamilton.
He is the father of
You've
our
been to
financial system.
Broadway, then you've seen also the.
Don't get me started, okay? Because Hamilton, how many people saw Hamilton on Broadway? I mean,
Yeah,
and how
everybody.
much money was spent on Hamilton?
Everybody.
Let me tell you something. I'm putting on notice. Just like there was Hamilton on Broadway, we're gonna have Hamilton on Broad Street. Because we have more right to having Hamilton on Broad Street than Hamilton on Broadway. So for those of you who hear me, I need help. Come and we should have standing
Look at them
room.
right there. Stairs to them right there.
Can't you see it? Hamilton on Broad Street, standing room only every day. That's what I'm talking about. Because the stories are told of when he was in school there, that he would walk through the cemetery
Yes.
and say his lessons out loud. He would sit under the trees to study. So this is literally where Alexander, in this area, not only he went to school, he lived in the area too. There's Liberty Hall, there's Boxwood Hall that he visited. So this is where history begins. And I think the passion for me is that timing is everything, right? The time is now for Elizabeth to get the attention that it's due. I say I'm not an Elizabethan. I didn't grow up in New Jersey. But anyone who comes to New Jersey has to come through Elizabeth before they leave, because this is where it all began.
True. It makes sense. And you're part of the committee for the celebration also. I want
Yes.
people to know a little bit more about what's coming, because this is all this history is coming together, and there's going to be a celebration, and you're part of it.
Yes.
I want you to tell us a little bit more about that, please.
So I'm going to answer that question by telling you a story.
Go ahead.
So
I like stories.
I was
I'm
in
just
Snyder
sitting here.
Academy looking out the window. You have to come and visit the property. You have to see it. So I was looking out the window in the cemetery, and I saw a white couple out looking, at the graves. And I always go and greet people. So I went outside, introduced myself, and it happened to be Nancy Benz. And she said, I was here the other day. I'm looking for my ancestor whose last name is Crane. So I said, oh, okay, I'll help you. So we spent about 2 hours out looking for her ancestor. It turns out that her ancestors, the Cranford, New Jersey, is named after her ancestors who are buried in the cemetery. So I was telling her about the 313, and I said, I think that the descendants of the African people and the descendants of the European people need to come together. So, there's this document that orders us as a country that says that all people are created equal and should have these rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Yes.
And I said to her, would you be willing to be on our board, representing the Europeans who are in the cemetery?
To bring them both together.
And she said yes. Wow. And so that was about 3 or 4 years ago. And then they started talking about the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, that same document.
Yes.
I thought to myself, and I talked to my colleagues, and I said, that property is where New Jersey began in 1664. I think that we should be a part of bringing together this 250th anniversary because it started here.
Yes.
And they agreed, and they said, if you do it, we will help you. And along with myself and with Amy from the library and the mayor of Elizabeth, we make up the team for the 250th anniversary. And it's wonderful to have a celebration. But what's important to me is that we begin to have those conversations. We need each other.
Yes, we do.
Elizabeth has it represents about 50 different countries. 50. Can you imagine if we actually sat down? There's going to be there's misunderstandings because we don't know each other.
Yes.
But to sit down and begin to talk about the things that make us different and those things that make us like each other, and this world needs it. We need each other, and I think Elizabeth is like the place that can happen. Because it's not too big and it's not too small. People seem to, even though there's like 50 different cultures that are represented here, I don't know how many languages. What I do know is that I need to learn how to speak Spanish.
Yeah, sí, claro que sí. Claro que sí.
I'm gonna have to do that.
It's very important.
But Portuguese and French and Creole and German. I mean, the languages.
There's a lot of languages.
The languages, the people. We started out talking about being created in the image of God.
Yes.
We are all created in God's image.
And even if we look different,
we are one.
One is the same.
We cry the same color tears.
Yes, for sure.
We bleed the same color blood.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I am here and just listening to you talk about what's happening and how people are coming together to celebrate these things and to learn about our history and how Elizabeth as a city is in the forefront of that happening, and seeing all of the things that are happening in the city and knowing that you're part of it in that sense, because you bring something else to the plate. Like there's some spirituality that is needed for this to go forward. Like nothing moves without that. So like having this conversation with you and like getting to know you and feel the energy that you have, and it's so pure and it's impressive. So like I just want to commend you and like keep pushing and doing what you're doing. I'm amazed over everything that's happening here, and I just want to continue to have conversations with people like you that are developing the things and making the push so we can all come together as one and be better. Like, how do you feel like being part of all of this and like having what I'm feeling? Like I'm just giving it back to you to just show you what I'm feeling with having these conversations. How do you feel with that impact that all of these things are having in the community and beyond? Because this is gonna be more than just here.
Yeah. So I wake up every morning and people ask me how I'm doing, and I say I am thankful for another day. What I will say to you is something we talked about earlier. You were talking about your being a musician and working with your dad and going out and helping people, and now you came here and started doing something else. I think it's the same thing. So the beat, it is the beat of our hearts. It is the thing that makes us unique and different. So having my husband is a musician. I come from a family of musicians. I understand the power of the beat and the beat of the drum. So something as simple as that's spirituality. Spirituality is the breath that we breathe.
True.
The fact that we are breathing, we have so much separation with different religions, different denominations, different faiths.
Yeah, we get fragmented.
I truly believe there's only one power that created us all.
And we know it, we feel it, we just...
We don't need to fight over it. We don't need to, so that our young people will want to experience it. They're experiencing it in a different way, which I commend them on. And I'm hoping that as we continue these conversations that we'll all learn to speak different languages so that we can understand each other better. I appreciate this opportunity to talk with you.
No, I appreciate it. I'm telling you, no. And I just want you to tell the people where they can find more information, where they can find you. Like, I'm sure that you wouldn't mind having a conversation. Anybody has questions about all of this is happening. And people, try to reach out to this woman. There's some big power in here. And if you tap into that, you're not going to be sorry. Where can people find you and all the things that you're doing? Okay.
So thank you. I guess this is sort of an advertisement. So I'm pastor of Siloam Hope First Presbyterian Church.
Yes.
We have worship every Sunday at 11 a.m. We would love for you to visit us there. Yeah. I also have the opportunity to serve at Elizabethport Presbyterian Center, which is in downtown. We invite you to come take advantage of our daycare center, come and take advantage of being with our seniors. And we also have a food pantry that people are welcome to come and take advantage of every Friday, starting at 9 a.m. Also working with the 250th anniversary. We have some really, really big plans to celebrate and to bring people together. And we need help. We can't do it by ourselves.
Of course.
So if you're interested in serving on a committee, I'm calling all Elizabethans. We need your help. You carry the memory. So we need your stories, we need your archives, we need your prayers, but we need your help. So when you see an advertisement to come to a meeting, please come and help us. That would be awesome. Do it.
Yes. You're not regretting it. It's incredible. Thank you for being with us. Continue, please.
So I just want to give a shout out to the Chamber of Commerce. This is the new magazine that's been put out. And we have 2 articles in here. We have an article about Narcan. So it's called a Save a Life campaign, so that everybody can save a life. If someone ODs, if you have Narcan in your pocket, you can literally save someone's life. So this is a part of Elizabethport and the city of Elizabeth doing this campaign with other persons, other organizations in the city. But this is a picture of our monument.
Ooh.
It is 23 feet high. It is black marble. It is exquisite. So if you have not had a chance to come and visit us at 42 Broad Street, we invite you to come do that. Go to our website. Yes. We have a website, 313plusancestorsspeak.org, or you can visit the Chamber of Commerce website because you can find us all of the places that we serve there.
Just looking at the monument so people could understand, it's got like faces coming out of it, and on the top, what's on the top?
On the top of it is an Adinkra symbol. It's a West African symbol. It is a Sankofa bird, and if you notice it, the body is facing forward and the head is turned back.
Yeah.
And what it means is it's not taboo to go back and fetch your history. So you have to go back and learn your history, know who you are, so that you can make a better decision on how to move forward. And one of the images on the monument is from Mr. Vandiver, the Vandiver family. And we actually know the descendants of Mr. Vanderveer. They helped us with the unveiling last year.
Wow.
Just want to give a shout out to them. They were so excited because what are the chances that we would meet someone that's one of our ancestors and they would have a picture. They had a picture of him. So we gave the picture to Sterling Brown. He made this amazing picture of Mr. Vanderveer. So yeah, thank you for asking that.
Oh, that's crazy. That's incredible. I mean, we're here in the mix and we're having a conversation with Dr. Reverend Wanda Lundy. I wish we could stay here and talk all afternoon. I mean, I feel such a peace when I'm talking to you. I don't know what it is. You know what it is. But I'm not going to say anything. I just want to show the people that we're really having a connection here, and what's happening in Elizabeth, it's going to change history. This is big.
I believe.
So I'm glad to be part of it and have a talk with you. And I have so many other questions, but they don't let me, they gotta make me wrap up. But
maybe another time.
Yes, for sure. Thank you for being with us in the mix. And I don't know what to say. Keep going. Keep doing what you're doing. Don't change anything, Mark.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming, for real.
Blessings.
Thanks. All right, guys. See you later. Peace.